During lunch break, after dropping it off at the post box in the student council room, I finished lunch by myself as usual and headed back behind the school buildings where no one could be seen. Only my time by myself could protect me from the derisive laughter and gossip. Since I was hated and didn't have a single friend, my time alone was the most kind to me. After checking the surrounding bushes to see whether some malicious classmates were hiding and threatening my time of quiet, I finally relaxed the tension from my entire body, knowing that I had gained some true peace. Then I let out a sigh. It faltered heavy, as though it was the first time I had breathed out today. My old favorite place behind the vegetable garden storehouse had been found out by my classmates and had been teased, so this was my new lunchtime hideaway. There was nowhere to sit behind the school building. As I crouched near the wall in the shadow of the bushes, I opened my bag and took out a book with an elaborate old-finished binding. Just glancing at it, you'd probably think it was a religious book or something written in the Middle Ages. But this wasn't a book. It was a diary. Of course it wasn't my diary. There weren't any special things worth writing about in my daily life. And whose was it? Every single day was just gray, cold, and dry. In those completely unchanging days, there aren't any changes worth writing down. This was a diary of Maria, a girl I'd been very close to. What? She'd been a little strange and 3 years older than me, but One-chan was always a warm, wonderful cousin. She'd always grab me by the hand and let me join in on some fun games. I remember that being able to see her was the most fun part of the family gatherings. When I opened the diary, the characters, which were made fairly skillfully considering that this was an elementary schooler, were packed close together, though they were written on every other line. She was just hopelessly obsessed with jotting everything down in a diary? Probably not. To her, writing her daily life down in a diary was probably like having a conversation with another part of herself. So rather than an object on which the events of her day were written down, Maria's diary was written like a letter to another part of herself telling of the events of that day. So it's like chronicling events, in a way. I found this diary among her belongings after her death and secretly took it home. At first I'd felt that reading someone else's diary might be boorish, and satisfied myself with just keeping it by my side. But I couldn't help but flipping through the pages and reading it through it bit by bit, and by now she had become my only friend. I gently opened the page with the bookmark.
Maria お姉ちゃん、お待たせ。また、お姉ちゃんのお話を聞かせて。
Are we getting Maria's backstory? At the same time, a very, very soft breeze blew, tickling the paper. I thought the open diary might have sparkled faintly. The weather's good today. Maria loves the wonderful rays of sunlight, so I'm sure she's in a good mood. On the pages of the open diary, no one in the world of the diary, Maria showed herself. No, in the world of the diary, Maria showed herself. I'm pretty sure she was 9 when she died, so her form was already younger than me. So I called her One-chan, so she effectively calls me Angie.
Oh, Angie, 今日は来るのが遅かった。
Thanks, Maria. Love you too.
お昼混んでた？うん、いつも混んでるわ。仲良しグループたちが席を陣取ってる上に、食事を終えた後も席を塞ぎ続けてるから。
Fucking squatters.
食堂に行くのが遅くなると致命的ね。今日は片付けの当番だったから。マリア、ご飯食べるの早い。早く食べ終わるとその分いっぱい遊べるな。
God damn it, Maria. Maybe she realized I was holding a grudge because that duty had been forced upon me and shortened my lunch break a bit. Maria brightly changed the subject. Grateful for that act of kindness, I responded by saying I was a slow eater. Maria calmed me down, saying something about teaching me the trick of eating fast. I read about it in her diary. No, I heard it from Maria. She was ranked number 1 among the girls in the speed eating ranking for her grade's newspaper. They told me so. She was apparently very proud of that, but a little disappointed that her mother, Aunt Rosa, hadn't praised her very much for it.
話を始めるね。昨日はどこまでお話をしたかな。
We're at age 4. Fuck.
ここまでよ。マリアお姉ちゃんがサクタロをプレゼントしてもらったところまで、サクタロの話を聞かせてくれる約束になってたわ。サクタロのこと話すよ。サクタロはね、とっても可愛いぬいぐるみなの。エンジェもきっと気に入るよ。
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if that's actually how it's written in the fucking diary. And that's, I wouldn't be surprised without the Angie part. Like with the ooze and everything.
そのお話を聞かせて、マリアお姉ちゃんにお話を聞かせてもらえる昼休みだけが、学校で一番マリア話す。サクタロはね、
When I looked at Maria, who was always in a good mood, it made my heart feel warm as well. As I listened to her tale, I began to get absorbed into her world. I completely zoned out for the next 2 hours. And didn't pay attention to the pumpkin end, really.
Happy birthday, Maria. ごめんね、帰りが遅くなって。
It would be the fucking pumpkin end, right? Jesus.
ママもお仕事お疲れ様。マリア、ママが忙しいの知ってるから、遅くなっても泣かないで待ってた。おとなしくテレビ見て待ってた。マリアは偉いわね。
God damn it. Oh, I don't need this stuff. I'm gonna start crying soon. Jesus. That's so sweet.
今日は何でも好きなものを注文していいわよ。
God damn, oh Jesus, I'm gonna end up crying in these scenes, right? Oh, this is too sweet.
もちろん食べきれる分だけだけどね。
Don't eat too fast, though.
今日はコーンスープをオニオングラタンスープに変えてもいい？いいわよ。200円高くなるけど、プロシュートピッツァに変えてもいい？いいわよ。本当に食べられるのよね。でもいっか、誕生日だしね。ちゃんとお行儀よく待ってたいい子のマリアにご褒美もないとね。じゃあデザートにエンジェラーノチーズケーキもつけていい？
Jesus, what?
あとね、シェフの気まぐれフルーツサラダにキッズフライドポテト。メロンソーダも飲みたい。
I don't know if you can eat all that, Maria. You're only 9.
マリアはいい子、マリアはいい子。ママに褒められた。ちょっとはしゃぎすぎよ。もう少し静かにしないと他のお客さんに迷惑よ。
When Rosa gently admonished her, Maria stuck out her tongue and eased up a little. But it seemed that she was having a hard time repressing her excitement at being able to eat out with her mother after such a long time. Today was Maria's birthday. Rosa always tried to let Maria spend her birthdays at great restaurants. When Maria had been in kindergarten, they sometimes invited other kids from the neighborhood over and had a party at home. Rosa would make a wonderful cake and snacks and decorate the house herself, making it a huge celebration. But when they moved and Maria no longer had friends in the neighborhood, Rosa had started splurging at expensive restaurants instead. However, today they were in a normal family restaurant. It was also a little late in the day for a kid like Maria to eat there, even with a parent. Actually, she had gotten reservations at a fantastic place that would surely have pleased Maria. Of course, she had also prepared a wonderful cake with Maria's name written on it, but Rosa just hadn't been able to finish up her business and had been forced to cancel. Oh, god damn it. I can already feel this is gonna be depressing as fuck, isn't it? Oh god. Since that plane had been traded for a local family restaurant, Rosa felt a little indebted to Maria. She was prepared to spoil Maria a bit and let her have whatever she wanted today.
Maria お姉ちゃんってあんまり食べないんじゃなかった？
Oh god damn, stop. This is already starting to fucking get to me. Stop. It's just too sweet. あんまり食べられないけど、いっぱい並ぶのが好きなの。お誕生日のテーブルはね、赤、青、緑に黄色、いっぱい色とりどりだと幸せになれるの。そ
そうね。お誕生日のテーブルってカラフルだと幸せな気持ちになれるわね。うちの誕生日はマリアお姉ちゃんのところにはだいぶ負けるけど、駅前のケーキ屋さんで買ってくるケーキがいつもとても華やかだったっけ。
And she thought back to her own birthday nostalgically. I have an over an hour that I'm going to be recording for. God, I don't know if I'm going to be making it that long. Oh, God. Even though Dad was busy, sometimes came home just to show up at my birthday party and then went right back to his company. At that time I was sad, but now I understand how important it was to Dad. Of course, Mom also took very good care of me. In particular, her birthday presents were always in excellent taste, and she sometimes arranged for them several months in advance. Even though we always sent an invitation to Battler, he didn't get along with Dad or something, so he kept not coming. So when he did come, I was really happy. The birthday parties when the whole four-person family gathered made for more fun memories that I'll never forget. That sounds boring. I was really hoping Maria would say that. Maria peeked into my happy memory. As I sat quietly, wearing the original helmet that Dad had made for me, I was a little embarrassed. In my hand was a paper gun that Battler had folded for me. Then one was taking a commemorative photo. It was the happiest moment of my life.
でもマリアお姉ちゃんの誕生日だって負けてないよ。それで今日もらえるんでしょ、サク太郎は。すっごく楽しみだった。ママのカバンの脇にあるプレゼントの包みを早く見せてもらえないかなとずっとワクワクしてた。
Sakutaro is the name of the stuffed animal that Maria was to receive that day. For quite some time before then, Aunt Rosa had been making a stuffed animal to give Maria as a present today. Hearing that it was a cute lion stuffed animal, Maria had already given it the name Sakutaro, even though she hadn't received it yet. Today she was looking forward to meeting Sakutaro even more than her own birthday. Aunt Rosa ran a clothing design company. It seemed to be some kind of brand name. What was it? Auntie Rosa? It seems like her catchphrase is, "I can't forgive the me of yesterday." Unfortunately, I've never met someone who knew of that brand name. Maybe it wasn't that famous. Okay, well, you don't have to be a bitch about it. Come on now. So Aunt Rosa was pretty skilled with her hands. I mean, I can't really name that many brand names. Like of clothing, at least. It would be like, Nike? I know shoes, not actual clothing. So Aunt Rosa was pretty skilled with her hands. I heard that she had made some of the clothing she wore herself. So making a stuffed animal that had to be well within her capabilities. Oh, if she actually made her clothing that she wore, that's impressive.
手作りのぬいぐるみなんてちょっと素敵。ところで、サク太郎って名前どういう意味でつけたの？
Probably because it's some fucking magical reason, right? Or no reason at all.
サクラってつけたかった。でもオスライオンのぬいぐるみだから男の子の名前にしなさいって言われたの。
Of course.
だから男の子っぽく太郎を加えてサク太郎。最後の「う」はいつの間にかなくなっちゃった。なんでさくらなの？
I don't know.
テレビアニメの主人公の名前。
Oh, of course it is. It was the name of the main character in a TV anime that was pretty popular at the time. The fact that she had simply borrowed the name of a character she liked was, how should I say it, as innocent and cute as you'd expect from someone that age. I thought it was gonna actually have like an actual deeper meaning than just that. ママ、サク太郎まだ。サク太郎も一緒にお誕生日混ぜてあげたい。プレゼントはいつも最後でしょ。 That's true.
今広げると汚しちゃうわよ。食事が終わるまで我慢しなさい。じゃあ早く食事を終わらす。
As soon as she proclaimed that, she started tearing into her meal. Rosa got mad at her, saying that was rude. It seemed she had expected this would happen right away. I also thought that given how straightforward Maria was, that was probably what she'd do, so it was kind of pleasant. When my expectations weren't betrayed. In the end, Rosa lost to her daughter's eyes, which were sparkling with anticipation. Cleaned up the table and took out the long-awaited wrap present.
Happy birthday, Maria!
See, that's where she lost. Because whenever I'd get it, it would be like, whenever everyone else finishes, or whenever, like, you know, whoever else is there, once the last person finishes, that's when you get it. So, I mean, it didn't matter how fast I ate it. It's like, well, I fucking have to wait until the end anyway, so it's fuck me, right?
なかなか時間が取れなくて、あまり上手に作れなかったんだけど。
I'm sure you did fine, Rosa.
ママの手作りなら何でも嬉しい。
Rosa spoke a bit humbly, but Maria was happy even before opening the wrapping. I could really understand that feeling. It's not a problem of quality. Just the fact that it was a handmade present was more pleasing than anything.
開けてもいい？開けてもいい？本当はお家に帰ってからにしてほしいんだけど、ちょっとだけよ。ちょっと見て挨拶したら一度しまうのよ。ちゃんと挨拶するのはお家に帰ってからにするのよ。ここはお外なんだからはしゃいじゃダメよ。約束できる？約束する。だから開けてもいい？ママ、開けてもいい？はい。ちょっとだけよ。
This is too fucking sweet. Before Aunt Rosa finished talking, Maria started unwrapping it. God, I just want to give both of them a hug. Oh, that's pretty cute. As soon as she did, yellow and orange peeked out. What appeared was a slightly blank-looking lion stuffed animal, with cute round eyes and a white chest. For fucking something that's handmade, that's pretty impressive. It was about the size of a small pillow. It looked pretty big next to someone as short as Maria, but it probably wasn't that large. From the perspective of someone who didn't know better, it would probably look like something cheap bought from a department store or something. Oh, I think it looks nice. But to Maria, it was her mother's handmade stuffed animal, and only one of its kind in the world and irreplaceable.
Sakutaro!
That thing's pretty big. Don't go fucking selling people short here.
かわいい。すっごくかわいい。ママありがとう。お仕事で忙しいのにこんなにかわいいぬいぐるみを作ってくれて本当にありがとう。そんなに褒められるとかえって恥ずかしいわ。全然時間が取れなくて大したものを作れなかったの。
Oh my god, stop selling yourself so short.
本当は抱えきれないくらい大きなのを作るつもりだったのにね。これでいい。このくらいの大きさならいつも一緒にいられるもん。一緒にお出かけできるもん。さくたろお姉ちゃんだよ。ふりゅー。本当に可愛らしいぬいぐるみね。この子がマリアお姉ちゃんの一番のお友達のさくたろなの。学校には一緒に行けないけど、お家ではいつも一緒にいる一番のお友達なの。
You don't want to get it, either stolen or, tore up, dirty, broken, whatever. Never take your stuff to school. That's always the bad answer. とっても無垢で可愛らしくて、そしていつもマリアに優しくしてくれるの。If you're not willing to lose it, don't bring it to school. That's the motto I had to live by. マリアに元気がない時には励ましてくれて、マリアが元気な時は一緒にいっぱい遊んでくれるの。だからマリアはもう寂しくなんかない。ママが仕事で忙しくて一人ぼっちでも寂しくないし、学校で誰も遊んでくれなくても全然寂しくないの。
え、サクタロー、おりゅう。
At school, Maria had lived in the same kind of environment as I did. Compared to the other kids in her class, Maria's tempo was a little slow. Her sensibilities and ways of viewing things were a little peculiar and a little too idiosyncratic for her to blend in. Her grades were low as well, and since she was talkative about everything related to the occult, her speciality, she was treated like a weirdo by everyone else in class. If you were touched by Maria, you'd be cursed, stuff like that. Apparently, everyone in her class acted like she was disgusting, made fun of her, and avoided her. If a boy bumped into Maria, he'd start rubbing that part against the other boys as if he'd gotten some scum on him. They picked up her stuff like it was something filthy and chased the other boys around with it. Seems the girls thought even speaking to her was unpleasant, so they ignored her all the time, only giggling and sneering at her whenever she made a mistake.
いじめっていつの時代も似たようなものなのね。
Welcome to elementary school and middle school.
人間ってほんと進化しないの。滅べばいいの。
That's a little bit genocidal right there.
マリアはいじめられて悲しいけど、でも仕方ないと思うの。仕方ない？どうして？だってクラスには一人いじめられっ子がいないといけないってルールなんだもん。
I mean, I hate to say it, but there's always someone on the bottom. There's always someone. And if Maria theoretically wasn't in the class, someone else would be bullied instead. So I mean, it sucks when you're the one that is, but there's always going to be someone.
最低なルールね。
It is, but it's just how shit works.
それを作ったやつの後頭部をレンガで殴ってやりたいわ。もちろん角で。もしもマリアがいなくなったら、きっとマリアの代わりに新しい誰かが新しいいじめられっ子に選ばれる。
It's not like Maria's theoretically special in this case. It's just, hey, you're the easiest target, so we're gonna make fun of you.
マリアが我慢することで、マリアはその子をかばってあげられるの。
As she said that, she smiled faintly. Maria's way of thinking really is unusual. I mean, she is also just telling herself that as well. I mean, come on. It's not like she likes to be. According to her from the beginning, a witch had resided in a place called a school. No, she says that any place where a lot of people gather will have a witch residing there. The witch tries to steal the students' souls through death by disease or accident. What the fuck? Apparently she sometimes also corrupts those souls, leading them down the path of evil. She says an angel came, not content to let that continue.
天使様はね、魔女をやっつけようとした。
I thought witches were supposed to be good.
でも魔女は兄弟で、戦いは7日7番に及んだんだけど、それでも決着しなかった。
I think you've been reading too much of the Bible, Maria.
疲れ切った魔女は休戦しようと言ってこう提案したの。前に聞いたわ。私はこれまでクラスの生徒の半分を病気でもその代わりに残りの半分の生徒は病気と怪我から守ってきました。だからもしもクラスの一人を私への生贄にいじめられっ子にしてくれるなら
I've never heard of this.
その他全員の生徒を病気や怪我から守るだったっけ？おう、天使様は考えたの。クラスの半分が不幸になることに比べたら、クラスの一人だけが不幸になることの方がずっといい。それに魔女はその強力な力で他全員の生徒の安全を守ってくれるという。クラスに40人の生徒がいるとして20人の犠牲者が1人に減って19人が助かるというわけね。実に合理的な提案。
I wonder if there's some theme behind the fairy tale. If it's a creation by Maria, a 9-year-old girl, that'd be pretty impressive.
天使様はその提案を飲むことにした。だから一人の生贄によって19人は救われた。
I think she made it up.
だからマリアの役割は大切なの。魔女は19人を守ってる。私たちが生贄になることによって その19人に感謝された覚えはないけれど。
Maria's ideal was too compassionate. Both of us are suffering from a very similar type of misfortune, and yet maybe a small difference in our way of thinking changes how peaceful our hearts are.
それでマリアお姉ちゃんは悲しくないの？
I mean, that's just not true. She had to have been.
おう、
I mean, come on.
悲しくなんかないよ。だってこれからはサクタロが一緒だもん。
Well, I mean, before then.
ね、サクタロ。うりゅう、マリアと一緒なら僕も元気。
Oh my god. She's fucking. Oh my god.
ほら、サクタロも元気って言ってるよ。
Oh my god, she is talking for him. That's amazing. Maria hugged the Sakutaro stuffed animal, playing both sides of the conversation herself. I don't understand it, but that's exactly why I want to reach Maria's level. So I was intensely drawn to her tale and her words.
エンジェは一人ぼっちだから辛い？
Ah, cut right to the meat of this, yeah.
辛いわ。でもマリアお姉ちゃんとこうしていられる時間だけは別。一人ぼっちじゃないから。ならサクタロもお友達になればもっと楽しくなるよ。うん。じゃあ今日からサクタロもエンジェの新しいお友達だよ。
Thanks, Maria.
ね、サクタロ。
Nice to meet you.
僕、エンジェのお友達？フリュー、エンジェ
So, god damn it. Skillfully moving the stuffed animal like it was a puppet, Maria expressed Sakutaro's emotions. She's controlling him, but the charming way he waved his short hand and cocked his head to the side made it feel like he was really a new friend called Sakutaro. Of course, looking at it with cold eyes, it would only appear that Maria was comforting me when I was grumpy. But a soul had definitely been sent into that stuffed animal. The soul of Maria's love. So I acknowledged the existence of a being called Sakutaro inside that stuffed animal.
ほら、エンジェもサクタロに挨拶して。ほら、サクタロもご挨拶。
Hello.
うりゅう？エンジェ、怖い人？
As Sakutaro timidly looked at me, he unexpectedly met my gaze and hid behind Maria's back in surprise. Maria really is good at playing with stuffed animals.
大丈夫だよ、サクタロ。エンジェは怖くないよ。とっても優しい女の子だよ。うん。どうも。サクタロです。ウリュウ。はじめまして、サクタロ。エンジェよ。新しいお友達になれて嬉しいわ。
I held out my hand as though asking for a handshake, and Sakutaro's short hand was stuck out towards me, lightly touching my index finger. After all, when a human and a stuffed animal shake hands, their sizes are too different. This greeting by touching each other's fingers was our handshake.
これでもうエンジェとサクタロはお友達だよ。一人よりは二人、二人よりは三人の方がもっと楽しいよ。
Thank you, Maria.
うりゅう。
Maria had given the name Sakutaro to the stuffed animal she was to receive on her birthday, and had warmed and expanded his existence in her heart for a long time. Therefore, even before she met him, his existence was sublimated into a personality. Even at the first moment they met, they were already friends. Of course, that wasn't ever anything extraordinary in Maria's eyes, although I don't think she'd personified and loved anything quite as much as Sakutaro. She loved the things she owned very much, treating them just like friends or beloved pets. Maybe Aunt Rosa hadn't let her keep a pet at some point in time, so she felt like treasuring objects instead. And maybe she was so isolated that she had been forced to find a friend nearby. Because of all of that, what happened that day wasn't anything extraordinary from her perspective. Even so, Sakutaro, no, maybe I should call it Sakutaro like Maria. What? Oh, with quotes. There's no doubt that Sakutaro was a stuffed animal. No, a friend whom she loved more than anything, or anyone. Telephone, yes.
もしもし、ママよ。上機嫌ね。お友達が来てるの？サクタロと遊んでるの。サクタロったらね。
Oh my god. It's already about 9 at night. Rosa had asked because this wasn't a good time to have a friend over, and she had been just a little surprised. But when she thought about it, Maria didn't have any friends who would come over to play, did she? Even so, to think that she had have so much fun playing with that stuffed animal, Rosa was very pleased that Maria had liked her birthday present so much.
ごめんね。ママ、どうしても仕事が片付かなくて。来期のラインナップが難航してるの。ようやく少しずつ注目され始めたみたいで、なんとかここで期待に応えられるインパクトを与えたいのよ。今夜もお泊まり？うん、いいよ。頑張ってママ。そうありがとうねマリア。ママのお仕事のことを分かってくれてありがとう。
Rosa was surprised that Maria had accepted so easily that she wouldn't be able to come home from work. So Rosa having to tell Maria that she'd be coming home late or staying overnight was a huge burden, obviously. It's never easy to do that. Maria would start crying about how lonely she was on the other end of the phone, and it took a lot of time and effort to calm her down. To think that Maria would accept it in such a high spirits. Is this also thanks to Sakutaro? Rosa was once again pleased that she'd given her daughter such a good present.
明日のこの時間には帰れるようにするわ。明日は一緒に夕食をとりましょう。マリアは夕食はまだよね。コンビニでお弁当を買ってきて食べてね。お菓子はダメよ。ジュースもダメよ。お釣りと一緒にレシートも入れておくのよ。サクタロとお買い物、サクタロとお買い物。こら、サクタロはダメよ。お留守番させなさい。
From Maria's manner of speech, Rosa got the feeling that Maria might have gone shopping with that stuffed animal without her knowing about it. Rosa's forehead creased, and after sourly saying that Maria definitely mustn't do that, she hung out.